Welcome to We the People on WKMnews.com. We're the voice of liberty here in the Ohio River Valley, online as well as the whole television atmosphere down here. But we're back and better than ever. We're blessed to have Eric Holcomb, who is a candidate for the United States Senate from the state of Indiana. He's going to take over, wants to take over Senator Dan Coates, who's retiring. Welcome.
Great to be here. You're not just a voice, you're a loud and clear voice. So keep ringing the bell.
Eric, the country's in a mess. The world's in a mess. Why in the world would you want to run for the United States Senate?
Because of that reason and what's at stake. And I've had this interest to serve for quite a long time. And quite honestly, I spent a good portion of my career, I should probably rewind the tape and say that I joined the Navy outside of college and served at home and abroad. And then I came back home to Indiana. The only time I've lived outside of Indiana is when I was wearing the uniform. Then I came back to Indiana and I moved into actually the house my mom was born and raised in Vincennes, Indiana. Worked for Congressman John Hostetler, a constitutionalist, right, by the way, and teaches courses on it to this day. And then went to work for Governor Mitch Daniels, was his deputy chief of staff, campaign manager, then was the state party Republican chairman, and then served 2 years as Senator Dan Coates' chief of staff based here in the state of Indiana. And I would say that the contrast of what gets done and what doesn't get done between the time that I worked with Governor Mitch Daniels and all that we were able to do to turn the ship of state around and go full steam ahead. The contrast with those couple years working for Senator Dan Coates in Washington, the work that he was doing in Washington, D.C., I was here covering in the home front, couldn't have been a bigger contrast. And so it's for that reason, knowing that Barack Obama told us, I mean, he didn't hide the ball. He told us 5 days before he was inaugurated, we are about to transform America. And he's been doing it every day since. So we shouldn't be surprised, but we should also remember those three important words, we the people. I mean, we are the answer. We are the solution. And no one else is going to do it for us. And so we're going to have to muster the troops to really say, we're going to turn this country around, and we got a lot of work to do and a lot of catching up to do. But it starts with the Bill of Rights, starts with the United States Constitution, and if we follow that, we'll get our way out of here. Now, we need the right leadership, and that's why I think I can apply that kind of leadership and why I'm running the kind of campaign that I'm running. I mean, my campaign is Indiana, made in Indiana. I mean, it's based in Indiana. It is county by county. There are no flyover counties for me. There are no drive-through counties for me. Today marks the 85th county that I've been in since I announced. August 27th, we're scheduled to do all 92 counties. And then we'll do it again. And that's not just wandering Indiana shooting and making baskets. That is actually methodically driven and by design, because I want to be in every small town and big city. I mean, we're a diverse state. I want to be in every small town, every big city, talking and listening to people so that we can take that voice out to Washington, D.C. and say, these are the things we're going to fight on. I'm going to turn the cards face up. I'm not going out. You're going to know what I'm going to go to Washington, D.C. to do. I mean, period. It's going to be black and white on paper. Turn those cards face up and say, I'm going to be transparent. Boom, 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 and I have a three-plank platform that I'm gonna get busy on day one.
What is your platform, Eric?
Well, and it's inspired from the people, and it's addressing, and they happen to be my concerns as well. I'm happy to report in that people are concerned about our national security. They're concerned that there are no more away games. They're concerned about the threats that we face. They're concerned about our economic security or lack thereof. We were talking a little bit before we went on air about my wife. She's an employee of a small family business. They make bolts, B-O-L-T-S. Seems like it couldn't be any simpler than that. They've been doing it for 45 years. But there are some people in Washington, D.C. that think they know better how to build bolts. And the amount of regulations that flow downhill that are mandated on this state, not just into everything we do in life, but specifically into the very small family businesses that used to be the real engines of the economy, the lifeblood of our economy. And that leads me to the third plank of the platform, so national security, economic security, and then a freedom plank where, and this is the one that quite honestly troubles me the most, and what kind of prompted me to say, what can I do? I mean, what can I do? And why I get fired up, and when I roll out of bed in the morning and hit the road again, just like Willie Nelson said, I'm focused on, look, if we get the national security part wrong and we're weaker militarily speaking, we've been there before, we can bounce back. If we continue to stagnate and get the economic security plank wrong, we've been there before, we can bounce back. But if we continue to go down this path where we're just kind of giving up our freedoms and our liberties like they can do that, Washington, D.C. can take those, we're going to become a nation that we weren't designed to be. And I'm watching us change. Again, Barack Obama told us before then candidate Obama said he was out to transform America. He's doing it. And transforming means into something that we're not. Mm-hmm. And we know what we are. We are based in the Bill of Rights and the Constitution, period. We can argue about those things, but we know what we are, and the reason why this country became so different from all the countries around the world, from all the attempts around the world, why it became distinct, why it became exceptional and great, period, is because of that freedom plank that was deliberately inserted, the limitations placed on government in the Bill of Rights. They limited the federal government. They said, wait. We're going to let people determine their destiny. Any of the people determine their destiny, and we're going to let the responsibility rest with them. And so, the good news is, in just over 500 days, this president's going to leave the White House. The sobering news is we've gotten it wrong, in my opinion, twice. And we can't afford strike three. Can't afford it. We're going to have to reverse course, and we're going to have to address things. And I think the way that I'm wired, the only way is to say, cards face up, here's what I'm going to do. Here's the 10 things I'm going to do on the national security front. We cannot continue to hollow out our military and expect them to do more with less. Now, there's some reforms we need to make in the Pentagon. There's some things that we need to do. There's the military says that we're 25% overload in bases, and so there's some things that we can do to better manage the money that's going through there right now. But we can't continue to give money to people that think ill of us, and we can't continue that are not working with us. We need to start selling more to some friendly nations out there, not the ones that hate us and wanted to wipe us off the face of the map.
But turning back to Leviathan, because the last 2012, the House became Republican and ostensibly more conservative, and the promise was
we got more Republicans in the House than they have since the 20s.
And then 2014, give us the Senate, but then you sit there going, we're making deals, and not very good deals. We got to wait until we get, conservatives get the White House. Well, what people are calling upon you, as well as the other candidates, to sit there and say, how do you turn this back in your role as United States Senator, to sit there, Mitch McConnell down here, better than Anderson or Ellison Lonergan Grimes, but, we're making deals. Are you prepared to do, I'm not going to say you're going to do Ted Cruz, but sit there and say, hey, time out on this playing court. I'm going to call you out.
Oh,
or is that,
no,
against Senate?
I'm going to pull the Constitution out and the Bill of Rights out is what I'm going to call it. That's the rules. That's the rules, period. And so what I think we have to do, what I'm prepared to fight on is here is the roadmap. And here's what I want to do. We have a tax code that's 70,000 pages long. It is crushing small businesses. It is forcing small businesses to hire attorneys and accountants and
fair tax, flat tax work.
We need to get to a one-page tax code, and I guess I could compromise and say front and back. But I'm there. I just want to see. I want to talk about what that rate is going to be. But it needs to be
more of a flat tax.
Yeah. But a 1 page is what I'd like to get to.
Mm-hmm. But that's what it started out when in the 19-teens when you know it's a 10.
And then so you got to get rid of all the loopholes. You got to get rid of all the. You're going to put a lot of people out of business in Washington D.C. I get that. They need to go. Or we're going to continue to have what we have times. It's $18 trillion. It's an $18 trillion debt. That's just the government debt, by the way. I mean, we're really about $62 trillion in the whole. But that 18 is going to be. It's closer to 19 right now. It's going to be 20. It's going to be 24. It's going to be 36 before we know it. But the tax code is the first place to start. And Senator Rand Paul was right. We need to take a chainsaw to it. We need to slice it right down the middle. When he said that thing is dead, now what are we going to replace it with? And it needs to be that simple, straightforward, 1 page, maybe front and back so people can read the instructions. But that's it. And then we have to address those regulations that are also stifling innovation and forcing things offshore. So lots that we can do to provide certainty to small family type businesses that really generate our economy.
And we're wrapping it up. We want to do this again.
I'm going to be here.
And,
I'm no stranger to this neck of the woods.
You are, and he's a Hanover graduate, by the way.
I swam the Ohio River, so I'm a glutton for punishment.
A survivor. Website.
Yeah. I will give you the card, holcombforindiana.com, HOLCOM as in Mary, B as in boy, FOR, Indiana.com. And we're building this thing from the ground up, and it's people powered, and that is the solution to what ails us.
This is We the People on WKMnews.com. Thank you. God bless you. God bless our audience, and God bless our country. Thank you very much.
God bless you.